This is a KBTX News 3 severe weather update from the Pinpoint Weather Center.
Good Sunday morning, Brazos Valley. We have a new tornado warning in effect for central Grimes County, portions of Montgomery and Walker County until 9:15 this morning. This primarily concerned for folks in Carlos, in between there and Anderson, Shiro, Roans Prairie also included with this. Along and south of Highway 30 is where the greatest concern is here for a radar indicated, not confirmed tornado, the potential for hail, quarter size or a little bit larger, and of course some gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. So this just issued, goes until 9:15, so here for the next about 30 minutes or so. If you are in Bryan College Station, phone might have gone off saying that there was a warning. There is no imminent tornado threat. Again, this is moving eastward away from Bryan College Station, away from Brazos County. But if you are in Grimes County or western Huntsville or western Walker County, we'll need to be watching this very closely here over the next little bit. So Carlos, Shiro, Anderson, Roans Prairie folks need to be in your tornado safe shelter right now. This is along and south of Highway 30 where we are seeing that rotation. Latest radar sweeps have shown this. That has tightly wound that rotation a little bit. Again, right by Fantherpin Historical Park, that's going to continue moving eastward, closer to western Walker County here within the next really about 30 to 45 minutes or so. There's Highway 30 right there. There's the FM that takes you from Anderson down toward Navasota. So I'm going to step off and look at a new sweep of radar and show you exactly where that rotation is. Again, Anderson, Carlos, Roans Prairie folks, you need to be in your tornado safe shelter right now. So what we're looking at whenever we turn on the velocity signatures here on the radar is winds that are moving away from and toward the radar. That indicates rotation. And where we are likely seeing that is right over just to the north of Anderson and in between there and Roans Prairie. So just sampling winds here of how strong these winds could be, well in excess of 40 miles per hour, but likely stronger if we do have a tornado on the ground. Again, this is radar indicated. We have not seen any confirmation of that, but this is something that we will continue to watch. Again, Brazos County, folks, this is not a tornado warning concern for you. Looks like the National Weather Service has reoriented that to not include any of Brazos County anymore. There's more thunderstorm activity down to the south and west of Washington County and another storm that we'll watch for Burton, for Carmine and Brenham folks. But the most pressing storm right now is this storm along and south of Highway 30 in Grimes County. This storm has a history of producing at least a little bit of hail. No confirmed tornado or really any wind damage reports with it. That right there, what you're looking at is hail vision, which has largely been overestimating how strong the hail has been so far. But again, the potential for quarter-size hail or larger, and obviously the tornado threat to go along with that is why you need to be in your tornado safe shelter right now. This is the innermost part of your house. Just get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, you see some of those brighter reds and that darker green that's indicating rotation within this thunderstorm. And I think a little bit of false radar echo there that is right along the highway there stretching from Anderson to Roans Prairie. So it is moving eastward at a pretty quick pace. Yeah, there's 90 right there, and there's Highway 30 as you're making your way eastbound. And again, this storm is moving eastward. So Carlos folks, especially if you are on the western side in between Carlos and Bryan College Station, the strongest part of this storm has passed you. So if you were taking shelter, you can come back out. But Roans Prairie, Anderson, Shiro folks, and maybe even Singleton, especially if you're on the south side in between there and Roans Prairie, you need to be taking shelter right now. Innermost part of your house, and get as many walls between you and the outside as possible, away from doors and windows. Maybe take some pillows and blankets into that closet or into that bathroom with you as well. Again, latest look at velocity, it does not look any more or less compelling that we are looking at a tornado, but if we are, it is very likely right around that Highway 90 and Highway 30 intersection, maybe just to the south, in between Anderson and Roans Prairie. So that's the biggest area of concern right now. Though again, like I said, Singleton, Shiro folks, we absolutely need to be watching this very closely. We are also streaming on Facebook, though there's not any sound there. Obviously, on air takes precedence here, but did see somebody comment on there, tornado warning for Navasota. If you live west of Highway 6 in Navasota, that is not a concern for you. Looking at reports from the National Weather Service about any potential reports with this storm and what we're expecting through the rest of the morning. I did say a new potential tornado watch could be coming out to include the rest of the area. And now as I'm looking through radar data, it looks like another tornado warning just issued. Again, this is for Fayette County, so that's just to the south and west of us. But if this keeps moving eastward, it's either an Austin or Washington County storm, so we'll have to watch that too. Again, reason we're on air right now is this tornado warned storm that is in central Grimes County, Anderson, Shiro, and Roans Prairie folks. Absolutely need to be in your tornado safe shelter right now. There's still some considerable rotation with this storm. Again, where you see those reds and greens close together, and you see that brighter red, that is where we see that that potential tornado. Again, at the very least, some rotation overhead. This is pretty far from the radar, but still compelling enough for folks at the National Weather Service to have issued a tornado warning. So we need to keep watch of this, folks. Again, in between Anderson and Shiro, along 90 and 30. The good news, again, if you're in Carlos or anywhere west of there, this is not a concern for you right now. If you're watching this in Huntsville or New Waverly or anywhere west of Huntsville in between there and Shiro, there's no imminent tornado threat for you, but this is something that you need to keep an eye on with us. Again, a new tornado warning for Fayette County. That does not include technically any of the Brazos Valley, but we know occasionally we get some Fayette County viewers. So those are the two warnings that we have on hand right now. Again, National Weather Service says they may be issuing a tornado watch soon. Again, the watch is that conditions are favorable. Well, obviously we're seeing that if warnings are being issued, multiple warnings, and we will update you on that as we get a little bit closer, and if and when that watch is issued and who is included in that. Would not surprise me if it's really the southeastern portions of the area. Again, Bryan College Station, folks, this is not a concern for you. Neither of these storms are. One of them rolled through. This is the same one that gave us a little bit of hail, especially in South College Station. We had some confirmed reports of up to marble-sized hail there, some dime-sized hail in a couple other spots. Some folks on Facebook asking to zoom in and look at the streets here. Again, right now it looks like if we're going to find a tornado with this storm, it's going to be just to the south and east of that 90 and 30 intersection. Poking around and looking at velocity, see there it is again, where you see that brighter red and the green, about right there. So yes, just to the south of that 90 and 30 intersection, this is moving due east. So we'll take all that off and put a storm tracker on there for you. Again, this is moving very quickly. This is moving at about 40 miles per hour. So throwing that in there for you. Again, once it gets away from that intersection, obviously not quite as many people that it is impacting, but closer to the Huntsville State Park. I would say within the next 30 to 45 minutes. Richards folks, closer to the 9 o'clock hour, a little bit after. And again, this will keep moving eastward. So if you're in Carlos, especially if you're in between Carlos and College Station, though you are technically still under that tornado warning, the good news is for you, that concern is much lower now as this storm continues to move eastward. We also mentioned the potential, the original warning for this storm was for hail. It does not look like quite as much of a concern now, though did just see a viewer report on Facebook that there is a hail in Shiro. So hail is falling with this, and it really has been for the past about 45 minutes to an hour. radar indicated anywhere from about pea-sized to dime-sized. So again, this tornado warning is until 9:15. I suppose the good news is with these new radar sweeps that we've seen, we get new data every couple minutes or so, and it doesn't look necessarily more compelling that we have a tornado, but there is definitely a possibility. And again, it is right over Roans Prairie, just north of Anderson, where we're seeing that potential, right along the 90 and 30 intersection. So if we do find a tornado, it is likely going to be right there. We use a couple other different tools that we have for radar to potentially look into this storm. And thus far, I have not seen anything that looks overly compelling. This is a thing called correlation coefficient, just looking for non-rain in the storm. And largely, what you look for whenever you see that is more of a blue color, sans what we have just to the south and east of there. But obviously, this is still a big concern for folks that are in Roans Prairie proper. So right at 90 and 30 is where we see the biggest concern for a tornado, if there is one. This is radar indicated, but obviously still serious. So if you are anywhere east of Carlos, Roans Prairie, my Shiro friends, make sure you are in your tornado safe shelter still. Get as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. And we will, of course, update you whenever that threat has passed. Daniel on Facebook says he's getting hail off of 229. So again, hail is confirmed falling with this system. And it looks like we have extended that tornado warning to now include portions of Washington County as well. Trying to get all that busyness off of the screen there for you. Okay, so this now does include folks in Brenham. Right now this storm is centered about over Round Top. And this one, if we're just comparing the two storms, this one has much more convincing rotation. Low level, it's a little bit closer to the radar site too. So again, this just south of Round Top, that area right there where you see the reds and greens getting close to each other, that is what we call a couplet. And that likely means that either we have a tornado or that we just have rotation very, very close to the ground. And so that is why the National Weather Service in Houston has extended that to now include portions of Austin and Washington counties as well. So this, we'll put this moving at about 45 miles per hour north and eastward, and we'll put a storm track on here for you and show you what we can expect. Again, Brenham, folks, I would say about 9:30. So again, there's a little bit of time here, and we'll continue to watch this for you. But yes, you are technically under a tornado warning. So again, be thinking about where your storm safe shelter is, where you're going to go in your house as that storm gets a little bit closer. Burton, this is just off to your south and west. The rotation might pass y'all just to the south, but I want you to keep a close eye on this too. Heavier rain starting to fill in down toward Navasota. That is not a concern right now as far as any severe weather is. It's, again, these two cells that carry that tornado warning tag with them. So those are the two storms of greatest concern. Again, if you're watching this in Bryan College Station, this is not something that is of a pressing issue for you. Again, trying to get those boxes a little less busy for you. So look now at the latest sweep. Okay, so with the newest run, it looks a little bit more convincing now that we may have a tornado again, just south and east of Roans Prairie. The storm is moving pretty fast, but if you are anywhere south of a line from Roans Prairie to Shiro, south of Highway 30, then you absolutely need to be taking shelter right now. Okay. I did. I don't know exactly where it is. Chief Meteorologist Shel Winkley in here with you too. We do have a new tornado watch out that we'll get you updated on here in just a little bit. There's another sweep of the radar that again looks a little bit better, not quite as tightly wound with the rotation, but obviously still what we're looking at here again is wind blowing toward and away from the radar. That's over in Fort Cavazos. So again, that brighter red that you're seeing, the green, that indicates rotation. And so if we are looking at a tornado. It's just southeast of that Highway 30, Highway 90 intersection, and it is moving eastward. So the good news about this is that this is about to move into the Sam Houston National Forest. So if it continues on that due east track, which we think it will, very likely not to affect a whole lot of folks, but obviously still a concern if you are in eastern Grimes County. Going to take another look at that other cell that is now starting to move out of Fayette County and toward Washington County. Where we saw most of that rotation was just to the south of Round Top. And primarily what we're talking about this morning was the potential for some hail. We saw that come to fruition in a couple of different spots, especially down in South College Station. But now we are seeing these storms show a little bit more convincing rotation, a little closer to the ground. Does not look quite as threatening as it did a little bit ago, but still obviously a concern for folks around or just to the south of Round Top in between 237 and 159. And it is going to get close to that little corner where it's Fayette, Austin, and Washington counties intersecting. So Burton, folks, the rain has started there for you. Obviously, it is very loud. And you may even find some hail on the back end of this. But right now, that rotation should stay off to your south if you live along and north of 290 at Carmine or Burton. That is not an immediate concern for you. I'm going to put that tornado warning box, though, back on there. And I'll show you again. Brenham technically included in this. So if you are watching from Brenham, especially on the west side of Brenham, you absolutely need to be thinking about, okay, where are we going to go as this gets a little bit closer? So this is a supercell thunderstorm. It is not really showing any real signs of weakening. So we're going to follow this right into Washington County. This storm in eastern Washington County now moving toward Navasota is bulking up a little bit, but it is non-severe. And largely the concern still is with these two storms that are in eastern Grimes County and about to move into Washington County. So like I mentioned, this rotation is actually getting closer to the Sam Houston National Forest, but then the concern there is folks maybe at the state park as it moves into that northern corner of Montgomery County and we'll call it southwest Walker County. I'm going to take another look at velocity and see how that looks. Again, still obviously we're seeing rotation. Tightly wound, low-level rotation. It's a little hard to say, mainly because now we're looking at League City radar data, so that's pretty far away from the radar site. So again, we still need to treat this as if we are looking at a tornado that is just south and east of Roans Prairie and Shiro. So again, I've got the highways there now labeled there for you. Southeast of 30 and 90. We did hear from a few of you on Facebook who said there's some hail falling. If there is more hail falling, it is likely in between there, Roans Prairie and Shiro, and then closer to the Walker County line. Hannah on Facebook says, in Richards, there's some heavy rain and winds there. A lot of folks mentioning that in between Brenham and Navasota, it's starting to fill in on the radar and things are raining there. The good news is no imminent severe threat for you there. Got some folks reporting that hail lasted about 10 minutes or so, anywhere from South College Station into Grimes County. Another viewer says intense hail in Shiro, and again, that is very likely where we're seeing the biggest hail of the morning. So that absolutely tracks. Hopefully, it's not damaging hail, but if there is any, that is likely where it is to be found. Latest look at velocity there shows that there is still plenty of rotation with this storm, and again, it is just south of Shiro. So, like I mentioned, this is moving about due east. At about 45 miles per hour. So it's going to keep moving that way towards Sam Houston National Forest. But eventually we'll need to watch this once it makes that real quick trip in that far northwestern corner of Montgomery County, then into Walker County. It's going to continue moving eastward. We'll just kind of keep hip and hopping back and forth in between this storm that was in Fayette and now is essentially in Washington County, and the one that we were just looking at in Grimes County. Latest look at velocity there. Again, still clearly some rotation there southeast of Round Top. And this is moving east and a little bit to the north. So that's why this tornado warning extends all the way to Brenham. Again, it goes until 9:15. There's a potential that rotation has not reached the Brenham area by that point, so we'll see if this is extended to a little bit longer in time. But the concern there is just southeast of Round Top. Not so much for Washington County just yet, but the reason the tornado warning has been issued is because that rotation is moving your way. So if you're watching this in Brenham, again, you don't need to be taking cover just yet, but we absolutely need to be watching this.
Yeah, Max, they just said they're drawing up a new tornado warning that will include Grimes, Walker, Montgomery County. So a continuation of what we see there, and likely, if I was going to guess, potentially could even include portions of Huntsville as well.
Okay. Yeah, these two storms are just kind of riding along this little boundary that's been sitting over the area for the past about 24 hours or so, and it's able to tap into some rotation too. It's riding up the jet stream, and that's why it's moving so quickly. But very clearly, they've been able to sustain their own environment and get a little bit of rotation going, and so I don't really foresee these weakening anytime soon, but hopefully they will not get stronger.
Yeah, and just confirmation from the Weather Service. They're noting that the rotation is still strong, and the confirmation is that it will include Huntsville. So if you're in Huntsville, you need to be in your tornado-safe area.
And there's the area that we're watching, again, just southeast of Highway 30 in Shiro. Had some viewers saying that they have, in fact, had some hail and some pretty intense hail in Shiro. That's just on the north side of this system where that tornado could be. So again, if you live south of Highway 30, that's the area to watch. In fact, let's there's a couple of different tools that you can use to try to spot a tornado radar-wise. Again, not seeing anything super compelling, but that doesn't make the threat any smaller. So that's why we're on air. That's why we're also on Facebook. I saw a couple of comments saying that they were having a hard time getting signal. So that's one of the reasons that we are also on digital. Okay, so we've got a new tornado warning box, and hopefully the other one clears away here pretty soon. But now this does, in fact, include most of Walker County, including Huntsville and New Waverly. So anywhere along and west of I-45, absolutely need to be in your tornado-safe area. Like I mentioned earlier, get as many walls as you can between you and the outside. Wouldn't hurt to take some pillows and blankets into that bathroom or into that interior closet just to be on the safe side. And if you can't take the TV with you, you can turn the volume up and just keep us on, and we'll stay with you as long as the tornadoes or tornado warnings are active. So there again, there's the old one. It looks like they have now extended it now to 9:30 for Austin and Washington County. That's starting to move out of Round Top, and we will look at where the rotation is now. Not super compelling, but again, this is something that we still need to watch if you're in Brenham. Absolutely. So somewhere right about here is where that rotation is a little bit strongest. It's going to keep moving north and east. So that is why Brenham folks are included in that warning. Again, had some folks mention Eastern Washington County and then back into Navasota. It's starting to rain. There's no active warnings there for you. Bryan College Station, same type of deal. This is largely all off to your south and east. All right, so here's the new tornado watch. This is until 3 o'clock. Includes some areas that are under active tornado warnings, obviously. Washington, Grimes, Walker, and then a line down to the south and east, including the Houston area. In addition to the tornado threat, like we've seen this morning, the potential for some hail too. Wind gusts 70 miles per hour plus outside of those tornadic storms. So that is why they have issued that watch.
Max, I'm pulling up the live ice in Huntsville for you.
Okay.
Just have them ready.
All right. So again, there's the new tornado warning box for Walker County folks. Again, this is not a great part of the radar's beam, so it's at this point treat it as if there is a tornado, because even broad rotation that we're noting here, it's reaching up pretty high into the cloud. So we very well could be looking at a tornado there, still just to the south and east of Shiro, really right around that little corner of Montgomery County and Sam Houston National Forest, but it's moving eastward back into southern Walker County.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably right there, at least as the last radar scan, right there on the Montgomery-Grimes County line, just south of the Walker County line. Looks to be the best place to put that as of right now.
All right, there's a look. There's a look over campus. Let me pull up Walker County. And obviously, it looks pretty gloomy here in town, too. But it is much more bark than bite here in BCS than what we're seeing in those active warning areas. Okay, there we go. Pulling up.
You get Sam
Houston, yeah. But you can take over. Okay. Another thing that's important here is 59 degrees in town. So there's more stable air that's starting to move in. And, hopefully we're going to start to see a lot more calmer conditions. So that's a look outside over Sam's campus.
That's the courtyard, and then let me pull you up over Bauer Stadium. Nothing to see just yet, but it is pretty breezy out there in Huntsville. You can tell from the trees swaying.
All right, Andrew on Facebook says things are getting calmer in Shiro now. Again, some folks asking about Walker County probably just got their phones pinged, and a new warning for you. Again, west of I-45, that is where the most imminent tornado threat is. We've still got 2 active tornado warnings in the Brazos Valley. If you're in Bryan College Station, this does not affect you. So again, the good news there, and really a large part of now Grimes County. So if you've been watching this along with us in Carlos, Anderson, I want to say even Roans Prairie, Singleton, that tornado threat has now largely passed you. So Michelle mentioned kind of right in that northwestern corner of Montgomery County is where the rotation is right now. But this is moving eastbound toward Huntsville, and so that's why you're now under a tornado warning. And don't waste any time getting to your tornado safe shelter. Like we keep telling you, just get as many walls as you can between you and the outside as possible.
Not the most important thing right now, but the severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled for Lee County as the threat, ends there.
All right, let's put.
Here, Max, if you want to jump on, I can drive for you.
Okay, you're good. So just put a storm track on there for, we'll call this southwestern Walker County and taking it all the way into Huntsville. So again, this is moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. It says about 9:40 in Huntsville. I think better to be prepared for that by about 9:30. And again, right now the rotation is along and south of Highway 30. So if you're back into Grimes County, again, good news for you is that this tornado threat is largely passed. And we've got confirmation of that from a lot of you on Facebook saying that things are a lot calmer there now. What we're looking at is the velocity signatures, so the way the winds are blowing within this storm, and the radar that we're using is down in League City. And so what we're seeing with this is pretty high up into the cloud, and so oftentimes with thunderstorms like these, you see at least a little bit of rotation. But when you're that high and you note this rotation, a lot of times that's the best evidence that you can use to indicate a potential tornado. So with this rotation that we're clearly noting, over the past about 45 minutes to an hour, that's where we see the potential for continued rotation to actually get down closer to the surface, potentially a funnel, and then a tornado. So that's what we're concerned about.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on your shear marker here in that little blue area that you see there, right in the northwest crux of Montgomery County. That little guy right there.
All right. So Sam Houston National Forest right here.
Is
that 149?
149,
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so just off to the north of there, again, that little corner of northwestern Montgomery County.
That little line right there, that's going to be the Walker Montgomery County line, yeah.
So again, Not a lot of folks there because that's a national forest, but this is moving eastbound into a more populated area south of Highway 30 in Walker County.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the other one.
There's I-45, New Waverly, Huntsville. Really 3 cells we're watching now that one started to materialize a little bit closer to Navasota, but only 2 of these are warned. And again, we're too far from the radar site to say, okay, that does not look all that compelling, but there's clearly a little bit of rotation here.
Yeah, so it's going to be down near, just north of the community of Wesley, just off to, probably right on top of, if not just east and northeast of FM 2502, south of the community of Klump, FM 389. But again, Max, that is moving towards kind of just the south side. So it may kind of scrape south of Brenham there, but it is something that we need to note.
So Burton, Carmine, folks, again, at least as far as the rotation of this thunderstorm are concerned, you're pretty much in the clear. This is going to move east away from you.
Yeah, moving to the east at 40. So what we'll do is, let me get you a storm track here. There's a new scan as well.
See, there's a little bit more tightly wound rotation there.
Right there between Muellersville and Klump. So if this is moving to the east at 40, what I'm going to do for us is we'll do that.
Highway 36, there's 290 moving into Brenham.
I'm going to need to back out. Give me just a second.
Again, the warning box stretches to just east of Brenham, but we will probably see this extended. Shell's got the storm track and the times and locations there for you. So now even including Chapel Hill within the next 30 minutes or so, even potentially Hempstead about the top of the hour. Prairie View, areas like that after the 10 o'clock hour. So especially on the south side of Brenham. If you live along and south of Highway 290, we still are watching this very closely for you. Told you a little bit earlier to start getting in your tornado safe shelter. I would still recommend that in Brenham. If you're in Burton, up toward Gay Hill, Somerville, this is not a concern for you right now.
I want to check too. Yes, these are tornado warned storms, but also there's been some hail reported at times. This doesn't look too bad. Just behind where that rotation is, kind of where the core of the storm is, probably looking at about smaller than quarters.
Gray area right here.
Yeah. Pea-sized hail. So a little bit of hail possible there. The high winds to go along with it. And what we'll do is the same. We'll look at what we call our shear marker. Not as pronounced. You don't see a blue coloring quite as much with this. Not to say that there's not rotation, because again, when we look at the winds, you can see the greens and the reds. They're just near south of Klump, near Moellersville, headed for Highway 36, essentially. And as Max mentioned, the south side of Brenham as well.
Here's how 290 goes, kind of loops around, and then that 290 and 36 intersection there. So Navasota folks, again, there's no warning, and we don't expect this severe, but this is definitely going to cause some flooding there in town. That's from about Washington on the Brazos, stretching back into downtown, and then even back into southern portions of Grimes County that may have gotten rained on from that previous storm.
All right, Max, we're going to come back up here to this storm, because hearing from the National Weather Service, we did get a report of a brief tornado that occurred near Richards on FM 1486 north.
This way. Okay.
So we did have a report that and there's Richards there that you can see. So again, this is earlier.
That tracks with where
that rotation was, correct. So again, from storm spotters and what we understand, it may not be on the ground again, but this storm has now actually produced a tornado, and the indications are still there as it moves towards the community of San Jacinto.
There's Highway 30.
Yeah, that it definitely has the possibility of trying to do so again. So let's get us a new storm track on this. And this was moving at 40. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
There's I-45, again, Huntsville going down toward New Waverly, 75 right there.
Let me just make sure I get the right velocity here. Okay, got it. And we're going to go. That's not going to be enough, but give me just 1 second. We can change this up.
So 9:20 right now. This goes until 9:45. Again, this is primarily concerned now for Huntsville folks, or if you're in between Huntsville and New Waverly on 45.
Yeah, there you go. So there's some new times for you.
All right. So Mountain Prairie Church, just about the bottom of the hour, so here within the next 10 minutes or so. Phelps around 9:50. closer to the eastern side of Walker County by about 10 o'clock. So this is moving. It's moving quickly, but there's obviously still time. If you're in Huntsville, or if you're between there and New Waverly, along or west of I-45 especially, tornado safe shelter right now. Again, as Shell mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, was a confirmed report of at least a brief tornado near Richards, where that rotation passed over. Now it is in, we'll call it southwestern Walker County, and it's moving eastward. Shell, can you find campus here on in Huntsville? So again, northwestern side, especially as you're up toward Madisonville. Again, this should not be a huge concern for you, but really anywhere from about campus southbound, I would say, need to be in your shelter.
Yeah, let's
There's
go
30 moving into town. There's I-45.
Let me give you another look. Let me find your live eye. Here we go. Oh, that's going to be the wrong one. Give me just a second.
Yeah, that there's a time lapse. Right. So again, if you're in Bryan College Station, if you are in Hearn, if you're in Robertson, Burleson County, areas like that, all active watches have been allowed to expire or canceled early. We're looking at 2 tornado warned storms right now. This is a live look over the Sam Houston campus, Bauer Stadium. I'm kind of standing right in front of. This is looking off to the north and to the east. Obviously, gray skies again. Not much of an indicator that we're seeing anything moving towards you, but it's been a little bit gusty this morning, and largely rain hasn't started there for you either. It looks like.
Yeah, we've got some P to marble-sized hail in Shiro, was reported about 2 minutes ago. Shanice is saying on Wesley Grove off 30, they've got some hail that's falling there.
It would be right about here.
Yeah. So again, this one, definitely if you're in Huntsville, if you're south of Huntsville, if you're in basically along I-45 to the south, Elkins Lake area, down to New Waverly, Phelps as well.
Can you zoom in a little more and give me that road that's from Huntsville to San Jacinto?
Yeah, 1791.
Okay. Yeah. So where the hail core and largely where most of the rotation is, at least that broad rotation, again, this is very far from the radar side. So potentially we're talking a tornado around this area, around that where you see San Jacinto, maybe just a little bit to the south and east of there.
Yeah, a lot of folks asking about other parts that were previously in the tornado warning. If you're in Grimes County, no active tornado warning now for the Grimes County area. We still have the cell that's down here in Washington County.
Yeah, still rotation. Again, you're looking at the colors getting brighter and closer together, and obviously you still have at least a little bit of that. And the rotation is kind of just southwest of the loop in Brenham, and it's moving due east. So about at 290 and 36. Maybe it'll be just a little to the south of that intersection, but here within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, right along 389 there for you. I'll switch you over again. So we're going to look at the shear. There's that blue that we were telling you about. So that just shows us that there is some rotation that is pronounced just to the southwest of Brenham, basically sitting right between 109 and 389. Let me see if I can't go in a little bit closer for us and get some other. It doesn't look like there's many side streets there.
Yeah.
But that is moving off towards the east. And like you've mentioned, it very well could at least scrape the south end of Brenham there along 290 and 36 where those intersect.
Yeah, that's about right there. And again, where the shear markers and the rotation a little bit higher up are being seen. And then just off to the west of that, essentially right around the same area, at the very least some pea-size hail could be falling with that. So again, that warning until 10 o'clock, and is that a new one, or am I remembering wrong? That it's now up to Washington?
Yeah, that's
on the
a new one there.
Okay, so that's the one that is now until 10 o'clock. That includes Washington, so just about to the Brazos River and leading up to Navasota. But again, that key area, the most imminent spot where the rotation is just outside of Brenham, just to the south and west of you.
Yeah, I'm going to highlight this for you so you can see it. There you go. So that's the rest of, that's the rest of Washington County. Some folks have been asking about Navasota. These, in theory, as they continue to get pushed to the south, This should be able to stay south of Navasota. You get the one big storm that you have on top of you now, but keep an eye on it. Don't just, skip away from this coverage. Just
Right, and this storm's nothing to sneeze at either. It's strong. Shell, do we want to maybe take a look at velocity over this cell real quick? But heavy rain in downtown Navasota. It's been raining all weekend, so it's likely going to cause some flooding at the very least. But right now, there's no imminent severe threat with it.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like there's any sort of rotation with that one. We can look at the hail, a little bit of small hail as well.
So again, there's where you pick your poison of Houston traffic. You either go 105 or down 6, and it's right just about there where we could find some pea-sized hail. All right, back to the Walker County storm. Yeah, so it looks like it has wound up a little bit more where you see that brighter red and the greens. Again, it is not a sure thing, but we've already seen a confirmed touchdown with this area of rotation a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Pinpoint's estimating a 50, 55 mile per hour wind there. Again, kind of shooting kind of high up into the atmosphere there, but at the least, it is gusty. You can at least say that. And so now that we have that, and this is moving at 40, so let me go ahead. I'll get you another storm track.
You might need to zoom out again. Huntsville, just off the screen is New Waverly. So there you go. That entrance to the state park is where this rotation is going to cross over. So not very far from the big Sam Houston statue. Kind of in between there and the Huntsville State Park is of greatest concern right now. So hopefully that means, and we'll continue to watch this. So again, you're not in the clear just yet in town, but hopefully those of you in Huntsville proper, around campus and areas like that, this rotation will pass you off to the south. Very clearly, though, still some heavy rain and maybe some hail that's about to move in. So just stay put in your tornado safe shelter, and we'll keep track of that rotation for you.
All right, let's go back to those Washington County storm. Again, a brand new tornado warning in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. The storm's moving east at 40. From the National Weather Service, it'll be around Brenham again, particularly the south end of Brenham. It's there now, so it's 9:30. So this is really right now on top of the city of Brenham, and then moving on to Washington at 9:50. And I'm saying specifically, I know we've got a lot of folks watching on Facebook, maybe on KBTX.com. If you're watching on a streaming channel, note the time. Our time says 9:30 right now. You are likely going to be behind because of the lag on the internet. So if you're in the community of Washington, Daniels, Chapel Hill, know that your stream is probably back just a bit from where we are. So the timing that we're looking for Washington is potentially in the next 20 minutes if this storm continues, which right now the rotation seems to be at the intersection of 290 and Highway 36 on the south end of Brenham there in the south central portions of Washington County.
And again, this is moving east, but it has moved a little bit north too, because it was well south of 290. Obviously, 290 moves northwest, southeast there in Washington County, but it is moving to the north or to the east and a little bit to the north.
Yeah, it's basically trending right up the cold front that's moving through here. So here's some times for you if you want to list those off, Max.
Yeah, absolutely. So Daniels, folks, about 9:50. So here within the next 20 minutes, even going back in time, Chapel Hill within the next 10 to 15, and then closer to the Washington and Grimes County line around the Brazos River, that's at about 10 o'clock. So within the half hour, it's going to move to the eastern side of the county.
A good question coming in from Facebook. I'm not sure if she's out there at the state park, but Chelsea's asking, how do campers at the park get shelter? If you are watching from Huntsville State Park currently, there are any of the bathrooms are basically the places that you need to go. It will say a storm shelter there, but if you can find a bathroom there at the state park, if you're camping, get out of your camper, get out of your tent, and find one of those structures to get into get into a tornado.
A non-manufactured structure is your best bet, something that has a foundation to it.
All right, so there's your 3 storms, Max.
Right, and again, 2 of them warned. The south central Grimes County one is still packing a punch, but again, there's from a rotation standpoint, we haven't really seen anything super compelling, but it is starting to kind of not really have anything to contend with its own atmosphere. So we may see this wind up too. We'll keep track of that for you. Okay, but if you're in Navasota, especially northwest of downtown, that severe threat's largely coming to an end for you pretty quickly.
Okay, I want to give you a view here. This is the camera that we have on top of. We've got 2, so we'll look at both here in just a second. But I'm just kind of doing a spin around This is our camera at Sam Houston State University. Saw some pretty decent lightning flashes. That might be looking more towards the base of the storm there, Max. So I'll leave it there. And then
You can see a little bit of rain-free area there, but
and then I'm going to see if we can't. We've got another one that looks more so on the courtyard. There you go.
yeah, same type of deal. Gray, wet.
The one downside of an East Texas piney woods kind of tornado situation is that there's a lot of
trees.
a lot of piney woods to keep us from being able to see. I'm going to put us back on the other one. I think that's going to give us a better view.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Rotation right now is southwest of campus where we're looking, and it's moving pretty much due east. So we'll keep watching and seeing where that biggest concern is, and hopefully that's going to pass to the south of town. But looks like they reformatted the warning just a little bit. Again, still till 9:45, so here for the next 15 minutes or so. Huntsville, just off screen is New Waverly. There's I-45. This area right here where you see the pinks and the purples, that is where there's likely, at the very least, heavy rain, potentially some hail to go along with that. And then again, just to the south and west of Huntsville is where the rotation is too.
So let's see if we got a new scan in for us here. And again, I think at this point it's, even if you're in the city of Huntsville proper, it is probably going to pass south of you for the most part there in the city. And I'll put it into motion so you can kind of see just the trajectory it's on. But it is going to catch, I think, at least the south end of town potentially. I think it's a good issue. And again, Elkins Lake, if you're in Elkins Lake specifically, you need to be in your tornado safe area there as you get it closer to.
Yeah,
So,
45 and 75, again, we mentioned Huntsville State Park. If we zoom in enough, I think it'll show back up, or maybe we have to do a storm track to get it to show
real
up.
quick. So there's the higher winds are being picked up. So up to about a 64, 65 mile per hour wind with those brighter pinks and reds. And we'll come down to, I don't really see much in the street, but you can see this little, here we go. So here's some of our neighborhood streets. So we're just going to kind of list them out for you.
I think I saw Broadmoor in there.
Try to back out just a little bit more.
There's Greenbrier Drive, River Oaks Drive. Oaks in that neighborhood, kind of in southern Huntsville.
Just trying to get our scoping tool's not working here, Max. There we go. Club Lake Road, Spring Drive, if you're out near Broadmoor Drive, River Oaks Drive, as Max mentioned, Greenbrier, Cherry Hills Drive, any of those areas there within that neighborhood need to be hunkered down. And when we say tornado safe area, we're talking about a lower level of your home, something away from windows, usually a bathroom, a hall closet. It does look like this is going to pass very close to, if not just south of that community.
And remember, there's Huntsville proper, so still on the south side there. Shell, if we did, if you zoom out a little bit and we do another storm track, I think it'll pick up the state park again.
Okay. I'm just going to do kind of a broader one too for you. Hold on. Let me fix this up real quick. I'm going to go based on 40 miles per hour.
There we go. Get out of the way as best as possible. Okay. There we go. So yeah, it says Huntsville proper here within the next 5-6 minutes, maybe 10. Boward Stadium now included on there, closer to about 9:45, and then east of I-45, essentially after that, right? So
yeah, looking at some of the other, just kind of pulling off an offsite map here. So this is going to be south of 45. You're looking at, again, Elkins Lake, particularly the north side of Elkins Lake, but Elkins Lake area. If you're near Spring Lake, Club Lake, both of those neighborhoods are really going to be kind of in the biggest path of this. So again, you're looking at Spring Lake neighborhood, the Club Lake neighborhood, and then anybody that's around Elkins Lake, Broadmoor, River Oaks, Overbrook Drive, Winter Way, Bent Bow, Thornwood, Pine Grove Drive, Golden Road Lane, and Spring Drive, all of which need to be a tornado safe area, along with the Possum Walk Road area, because that's basically where this is as of right now.
we get another velocity sweep, see what it looks like.
Yeah. And they're
Getting really
updating
close
this
to
one.
I-45 at this point.
Let's do that, and then they just updated the tornado warning for Washington County, so
Okay.
folks down there, we're going to get you caught up as well.
right,
There's
yeah.
your new.
So really past 20 minutes or so, the rotation has looked stronger.
Yeah, and again, those areas that we were talking about.
There's 75, there's 45 right there. There's that intersection, that exit as you're moving out of Huntsville.
Yeah, so again, Elkins Lake, Spring Lake,
Yeah.
tornado safe areas. So other storms are kind of interesting. We'll come back to the Grimes County storm, but let's get you caught up on this Washington County one. I'll put it into motion, Max, because it looks like
It is moving a little more north and east, but it's also is a
It's not
shade
looking
of its
at-
former self.
yeah, it's not as pronounced, but we still have this, the latest still capable of producing tornado moving east at 40. They've taken Brenham off of the list because this is now bypassed Brenham. But again, anybody between Brenham and Washington, we still look to be about 920.
Yeah. And what was going
Washington.
essentially down 290 almost looks to be riding up 105 now.
Yes. So we're close, and it may pass north of, but we're close to Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
So from the Chapel Hill area, if you're at FM 1155 south, between
There in 105.
290 and 105, Daniels, Early Wine, and then again over towards Washington. So what I'll do here for us, Max, is I will back us up a bit. Let me make sure I got the right place of that rotation.
It's pretty likely moving into some more stable air eventually once it gets up closer to Navasota, but still need to watch it. It's obviously still rotating.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's some, you're looking at Daniels near 950.
Yeah. Yeah, and then closer to, or even beyond the Brazos River around 10 o'clock.
Yeah, a lot of folks are asking about Brenham. Again, this is now moved away from Brenham. So if you're in the city of Brenham proper,
Or anywhere west.
yeah, you can come out of your tornado areas. Again, this is going to be now east of Brenham. Anybody that's essentially between 105, 290 from Brenham to Washington, basically to the Brazos River. You need to still be, if you're on the east side of Washington County, you need to still be in that low levels of your home.
Yeah. Let's see what the Grimes County storm is doing now. Again, this is the only one that's not warm, the three storms that we're watching, but this one is strong. So again, there is some rotation there, most definitely.
Yeah.
That's close to Dacus, or it's going to move toward Dacus here within, I would say, the next 15 to 20 minutes. So this is southern Grimes and eventually into southwestern Montgomery.
Yeah, and that area of
Give me
interest
this
there
road.
is 1774.
Okay, right, yeah.
But eventually be moving over towards the Montgomery County line
Yeah,
as well.
there, the
There's a
Stoneham
new,
and-
yeah.
Again, there is some rotation, most definitely, but not immediately concerning.
All right, so let's ping pong back over to our Walker County.
Yeah. So if we're looking at a tornado, it's really, really close to, or it's moving over I-45 right now.
I'm going to pull back up your live eye real quick, Max.
Yeah.
You can see the heavy rain that's kind of blinding down there.
I believe that's looking north.
Let's go around.
Yeah, because Bowers is looking east. Okay, that might have been looking more west.
So there's Bowers.
Yeah.
You can't really see it within the rain. And we're not going to be able, you're not going to
Right.
be able to see much
Yeah.
from this. There you go. So now we're looking more
Okay, so we were
southbound.
looking more southbound.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. Is from our Huntsville camera, we're not going to be able to see much. That I think is the other important thing. Let me get back to your radar, and we can kind of gauge where this rotation is. But I think a lot of it's not going to be something that is clearly noted as it comes through. Let me get rid of these queries.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just one of the problems with storms being in this area is that they are all very far away from the radar sites. And so when you see rotation like this, a lot of times you have no choice but to issue a tornado warning from the standpoint of National Weather Service. But if nothing else, we've seen that the rotation has strengthened.
Right, and so what I've done is I put a circle there, Max, where the rotation is, which is coming up on I-45. They're near in the Elkins Lake area, and you'll notice those colors that we have, the deep purples, the reds. That's very torrentially heavy rain. So whatever might be wrapped up in this, you might be able to see it if you're looking from the east back towards the storm. But if it is on top of you, it is coming in a rain-wrapped situation.
Right. And we were looking at campus, looking southbound. Really, obviously, all you can see is rain. Yeah, south of Huntsville, very, very close to that 45 and 75 interchange there on the interstate, and as you go southbound there.
All right, it is 9:42. We've just gotten a new tornado warning.
Okay,
This is going to
back into San Jacinto.
Be a continuation here. So this will now go until 10:15. The biggest hazard that we're watching for is, of course, that tornado potential. The storm has had a history of producing at least a brief tornado back on the very east side of Grimes County near Richards. But now this will include San Jacinto County. That's going to include up to Point Blank and 156. Oakhurst, you're in this tornado warning. I would say you need to be in your tornado safe area. Phelps, Dodge, this will be south of Riverside. So no worries there. But basically between, if you're in and this is a lot of open country, so that's maybe a little bit better news. But right. Oakhurst, up to Stephen Creek, 156, north of 150 in San Jacinto County.
Walker, San Jacinto County line right there.
Yeah, and again, can't stress enough, once this comes over I-45, the communities of Phelps, the community of Dodge, this is going to be bypassing 2296, and then eventually maybe even up around Dodge at FM 405 is where this will be moving. Let me give you another velocity here, Max.
Would be curious at this point if you're actually getting a little bit of hail, even in town in Huntsville. I would say we're probably sampling 65 miles per hour or more on that velocity signature. When you start to see the blues, that is when radar says you might be looking at some quarter-size hail with that. So it is possible. We have not seen hail that large just yet this morning, but this is some of the more compelling rotation and strength that we've seen of a storm this morning. So it is certainly a possibility there on the south side of Huntsville that you're seeing some damaging hail.
Yeah, and these products are a little bit skewed, so they're not going to be completely caught up yet. But you can see where I'm going to draw where the rotation clearly is right now. And I would say that maybe is the most compelling radar scan that we've gotten that suggests that there might be a tornado right now, either within the passing over or just to the east now of I-45. And I circled it because there's your shear marker, what we look at when we look at rotation. And those brighter blues are a very strong rotation, or very strong indication that we have a pretty big rotation there. Yeah. But you can notice how it's back. So this product was showing that as it approached I-45, but now the rotation is on the other side of I-45. And Max, I don't know that we're going to be able to see it very well.
No.
But let's go ahead and go with coalition.
Right. And what we're looking for is somewhere within the kind of the oranges and the yellows. We're looking for some greens or some blues that is essentially saying there's something else in this storm besides rain. Sometimes that can be ice, sometimes that can be debris, and I don't see any huge indication that we're looking at debris being lofted.
No, I don't see a debris ball. But there is a kind of higher coloration there in that rotation. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But as of right now, with our debris tracker, I can't definitively say if something is on the ground here.
And no signs of weakening there really, and largely, I would say with that latest sweep that if we're looking at a tornado, it's likely east of I-45 now.
Well, yeah, and National Weather Service checking in now again. Radar confirmation that a tornado is crossing I-45 south. So just like we were saying, the most compelling reason to believe that there is a tornado on the ground in Walker County as it is crossing I-45 south of the city of Huntsville. So again, stay where you are if you're in the Elkins Lake area for just a bit longer. If you are along,
not quite there just yet, not in the clear.
FM 2296 between 45 and FM 2296, you need to be in your tornado safe area, and that includes the community of Phelps currently. That is going to be the next place. If you're in Phelps or south of Phelps, you need to be in a lower level of your home, away from windows. A hall closet, a bathroom, if you have it that does not have windows, if it's in the interior of your home, those interior walls are going to do a better job of holding up your home in a tornado situation than the outside walls will. That's where you need to be. If you're in a trailer home, if you can safely get very quickly to a place that is more of a foundational home, but if not, you need to hunker down as well, as this is moving towards Phelps as we speak. All right, Max, we've got some new warnings. If we can go back to Max real quick, I'll let him drive. We get a new tornado warning.
This is the one that we were talking about with the rotation moving toward Dacus. There's 105 right there. Again, hail, not a huge concern here. Obviously, it is the tornado threat. So this includes a large portion of folks who live on Lake Conroe. This is kind of moving toward that area where we are also looking at rotation towards the Sam Houston National Forest. But if you've got any folks maybe staying in and around Lake Conroe, especially north and east of Montgomery, this is absolutely something you need to be watching. Dacus, folks, again, we mentioned this about 10 minutes ago, maybe a little bit less. Absolutely need to be in your tornado safe area right now. That's where the rotation is kind of planted over Dacus proper.
We're going to do a storm track on this. For folks in the Washington County area, let me come back to the storm here in just a second. But for those in the Washington County area, that storm is pretty much giving up the ghost. It's coming into the cooler air. So that tornado warning will be expired. There is no more threat for Washington County or the south end of Grimes County. So now we need to focus in Walker County, where we believe that there is a tornado on the ground due to what we can see on the radar, and this new warning that is in Montgomery County, moving towards the north end of Lake Conroe, but eventually this will also trail up the cold front back into the south end of Walker County. We just have to see if it's going to cross over into the cool air, which will diminish it, or if it's going to continue right up the front, which could take it up into San Jacinto County, maybe even portions of Trinity County as well. Max, I'll draw you a storm track here.
Yeah. And rotation right now is right over that Grimes and Montgomery County line.
Right at the community of Dacus. This is moving east at 40 as well.
Okay.
So make sure I have the best.
So that one's also at some point going to cross over I-45, but Lake Conroe before it does that.
All right, so we'll give you a storm tractor there, Max.
All right. So let's go back full so we can see the times, if you don't mind. So there it says 9:50 Dacus, New Hope Church by about 10:15. Once again, Huntsville State Park kind of included in this area to watch. That's about 10:15, 10:20 also. And New Waverly, though, the rotation from that previous cell just past you to the north, this will be something that we'll need to track as it moves eastward. So did we just get a new box? They just reorient that?
I don't see one. Yeah.
So there's Lake Conroe. Again, if you know folks that live on the north side of Lake Conroe, where you have to go past Conroe to get there, or past Montgomery, if you will, and then go northbound, they absolutely need to be watching this.
Okay, we did get a new box. Let me back it up for you
It's
here, Max.
a little bit messy.
So it looks like they might have just reoriented a little bit. But this would be the new box here.
Got it. Okay. So some of you Grimes County folks, if you live in Pinehurst or even Roans Prairie or even Navasota, your phone might have gone off just because it triggered in Grimes County. So if you're in Navasota, for instance, this is not an issue for you. There's 105, Dobbin, Montgomery. There's what could be a little bit of debris starting to get lofted into the storm.
Yeah, right there.
Right.
That's interesting.
So that's right over Dacus.
Right, and the warning. So there's a new scan. So there's your last one scan, those greens that you see here, and then the new scan, not quite as pronounced, but there could have been a brief touchdown there. And the Weather Service is mentioning that it is, again, radar confirmed, not radar indicated, but radar confirmed, which means that we have a pretty strong signal that there is a high likelihood that there is a tornado. If it's not on the ground, it is at least attempting. We at least have a funnel there. Again, right here, let me grab my pointer back real quick. Near the community of Dacus. So this right here, this is Lake Conroe, and this is moving towards the North Fork there of Lake Conroe. So again, that is radar confirmed, and as we come back into our Huntsville storm as well.
Yeah, it's still trucking.
Yeah. So again, it's where these greens and reds basically making this counterclockwise rotation south of the community of Phelps. This right here, this is the Walker and the San Jacinto line. This is 190. There's community of Oakhurst. So if we put this into just a brief little motion for us, traveling essentially due east. So that may skip south of Oakhurst, but if you are in Oakhurst watching, I don't want you to take that as a reason to get out of that safer spot in your home, that lower level interior portion of your home. This will pass either right near you or just south of you, which is going to be close enough to keep you there for now, essentially. But we can do another storm track as well and get us a better idea of this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and we'll draw it east at 40. We'll just go. I've got it set up so it's going to give us all the times we want if we want them. So if you're around Hobie Church, the time now is 9:50 a.m. on this Sunday morning, 10:03. If you're near the Raven Hill Historical Monument, that's around the 10 o'clock hour as well. Snow Hill Church around 10:10. Stephen Creek, 10:13. 10:15 at Wolf Creek Park. Blanchard around 10:20 to 10:25. And then Livingston Municipal, if this is going to continue to be an issue for the Lake Livingston area and then out of our area that we cover, it's around 10:30. So we've got about another 30, 40 minutes or so that this will be crossing through our viewing area.
Yeah. Alaska folks, no stranger to tornadoes and tornado damage, obviously. And not too long ago, was it, that EF3 rolled through town? Obviously, this is not something that we're expecting to be that severe. And if you're in Onalaska proper, that should pass to the south of you.
Yeah, here's another live eye look outside also. That is from Huntsville. So you see the rain has come to an end a bit there in Huntsville. The clouds are still gnarly. We've had a lot of reports. We've had some hailing that's been reported there. Nothing overly large that I can see, at least right now in Huntsville. A lot of folks have just said hail. But yeah, most of the worst is coming to an end for Huntsville currently.
Yeah, so we're sitting at, I believe we just got to 10 o'clock. Oh, no, we're 9:55.
9:55.
Yeah. So, if you're maybe just getting back from church, Bryan College Station, folks, there is no severe threat for you. In fact, the watches that we were under earlier this morning and the current watches that we have, we're not included in those here in town, but still concerned about three, but really two storms that we're looking at right now that are all to the south and east of town. We expect that to be the case through the rest of the day, that the severe threat is largely over. There you go, and that kind of paints the picture pretty well there. You see 59 here in BCS, 71 still in Conroe. So the more juicy, unstable air mass is very clearly where we're still, dealing with that severe weather potential. A lot of us are in the mid-50s. And so this is about what we can expect through the rest of the day. You're wondering how this is going to impact the rest of your Sunday. Obviously, we got a pretty big game that is going to be on air here a little bit later. We do not expect that to be an issue by that point, and especially by the time we get past midday, I think things are going to calm down in very short order. Another thing that we're seeing with this storm, and this box is probably going to disappear here soon. I think it expires at 10, so they'll probably just let it expire at 10. Yeah, that's good news for folks in Washington. Again, there's the Brazos River right there. Would not worry about that at that point anymore. So now we're looking at two warnings. Again, the one that is now largely moving east of Huntsville, we just showed you that live eye view. Things are starting to clear out there. So if you're in Huntsville, and we were talking about Lake Elkins folks, Elkins Lake folks, south of Huntsville, you can hop out of your tornado safe shelter right now, but there is still some pretty compelling rotation that we're looking at south of 190 that is moving due east.
And Max, a couple folks on Facebook are in Phelps. Are saying heavy rain and lightning. So just some roads that are probably going to be impacted if you're on Dorrell Road, Marino Road, Pine Gully Street, Pine Lake Drive, Main Street, Watkins Lake Road, Dogwood Drive, Whippoorwill Drive. Let me get that again. Whippoorwill Drive and Underwood Drive. Any of those places, if I just listed those off, that is where this storm currently is. It honestly, Max, kind of looks, let me go ahead and get a velocity for us real quick. It now looks to be kind of east of Phelps, but where it passed, I'm going to back us up. So this is 955. There's where the rotation came over 2296. Just kind of looking at another map source that might have been very close to where the New Waverly Volunteer Fire Department number 73 is.
And again, that is moving due east. So this is kind of just south of 190, and it looks like it's going to keep doing that. If you're on the south side of Oakhurst, even if you're watching this in Point Blank, this is still something that you need to watch.
Yeah. So we're looking at anyone along County Road 206.
Okay. Can you give me this road?
This is going to be, let me find something to write with here. This is the county line for you, just to get your bearings.
The Walker, San Jacinto County line.
Yeah. This is the road that comes out of Oakhurst rather, is 946.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, County Road 206 goes from Phelps down towards the Sam Houston National Forest as well.
So in between that, or really right over the county line at this point, but in between that county line and that county road is where the biggest concern is right now. And eventually, that's going to get up towards Point Blank where 156 and 190 cross, and that's going to be the next spot. So really, if you're anywhere from the county line back to about 156 in San Jacinto County, this is the area to watch. Still noticeable rotation. And again, the wording that they used with this particular warning was, radar confirmed. Radar indicated, radar confirmed. That just means it's just another little stamp of, we're pretty sure there's a tornado.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, these are a lot of county roads and FMs, but 3018, 946 is going to be south of Oakhurst there, 207, 246, 206, 245. So a lot of open land here in San Jacinto County where this is crossing. But again, south of the community of Oakhurst, and potentially even could impact the community of Point Blank as this continues on. So what we'll do, I'm going to take where we know that our rotation is, which is basically the snarly line, and let's just go east at 40. So there's some of you. So there you go. It's about 10 o'clock. So it is 10 o'clock now. So this is within the next few minutes, moving either just south of or very close to the community of Oakhurst, Palmetto Park, Point Blank around 10:10. Let's call it 10:05 to get you ahead of the game. But about 10:05 to 10:10, and then on towards Stephen Creek around closer to 10:10 to 10:15 as well.
We go back to that Montgomery County storm real quick. This is the one that was over Navasota, dropped some heavy rain there. Then we saw some rotation right around Dacus. And this is what it looks like right now. Again, it looked a lot more tightly wound about 10, 15 minutes ago. Yeah, about right there when it was moving over Dacus. But a lot of residents. This is kind of where it blends in between the residential area and then where it turns to more national forest type stuff on the north side of Lake Conroe. But if you do know folks that are living on that north side, again, that rotation is moving overhead right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't look as pronounced as Max was saying. We'll back it up here where it was radar confirmed there near Dacus, and as it gets a little closer to the north end of Lake Conroe, not as well pronounced. Looking at winds lower, which again, we're shooting pretty high in the atmosphere. For sure, the winds come down that kind of low. Maybe that gives us a better indication there as this moves a little closer to the Walker County line, the south end of Walker County. Not going to impact the same areas that have already had the tornado warning, Huntsville, Elkins Lake, Phelps, because this is moving on the southbound cold front. But still worth watching in New Waverly. And this blue color we've been showing you today, it's what we call our shear marker. It just gives us a good idea where there's a healthy rotation in the atmosphere within these storms. And there's still a bit of one here, there near the fork, that northern fork of Lake Conroe as well.
And that's bumping up really close to the Walker County line too.
Yeah. But again, that's the latest scan there.
Yeah.
We are going to get a new tornado warning.
Okay.
I believe on the northern one soon. But that, again, is going to encompass areas outside of our area. But they're talking about the Lake Livingston. So we'll get a new tornado warning for the storm that we've been monitoring closely there, coming out of Walker County. Got some hail that's being reported from Samantha and Montgomery off that other storm as well.